Welcome everybody to Wes Explains Best. We're talking about dividing functions. This is part 4 in our dividing polynomials series. Let's go ahead and jump right into this first example. Dividing functions. If you see f over g of x, what this means is we're taking f of x and we're simply dividing it by g of x. Now this input could be a number, it could be x, it could be a variable. So you just got to keep that in mind as you do these problems. The easiest is when it gives us a number, because then we just plug it into both functions. For example, if it gave us f of 2, f over g of 2, we would plug in 2 for f, 2 for g, and then we would divide, and we'd see what we get for an answer, and most of the time it's going to be a number. Okay. Now, if it's in terms of x, it's a little bit more complicated, and I'll show you how we do that. Now, this first example is talking about f of g over negative 3. So there's two ways to do it. I'm going to show you the quick way just in case you want to watch this and get out of here. The quick way is to plug in negative 3 for f, negative 3 for g, and then divide. Okay, what does that look like? Well, f of negative 3 is equal to 2, and anywhere you see an x, you're going to plug in a negative 3. Okay, I like to put it in parentheses just so you see it. There you have it. See, we would just replace the x with the negative 3 in each case. I have more videos on this for those that are struggling with functions, but this is the basics of it. Now we're doing order of operations, exponents first. Well, there's nothing to do in parentheses, so now we go into exponents. Negative 3 times negative 3, or negative 3 squared, is 9. Well, don't forget to multiply it by 2. Then we have negative 3 minus 10. We have 18 minus 3 minus 10. We get 15 minus 10, and we get 5. And that's our answer. So we have negative 15 minus 10 equals 5. That is equal to f of negative 3. So we're going to keep this in mind because this is equal to f of negative 3 divided by g of negative 3. And now we figured our first clue. F of negative 3 is equal to 5. So we have the top part done. Now we just need to worry about the bottom part. We're going to go on to g of negative 3. And actually, let me change this to purple, just so we can see a difference here. So now I'm going on to purple. I'm plugging in negative 3 again for g of x. So g of negative 3 equals anywhere I see negative 3. I'm putting, or excuse me, an x. I'm going to put a negative 3. So I get negative 5 for g of negative 3. That one was a lot simpler. So I'm going to put negative 5 here. Once you get these two things, it's as easy as just doing 5 divided by negative 5. We get negative 1, and that's our answer. So f divided by g of negative 3 is equal to negative 1. Okay, that's the short way to do it. There's also a longer way to do it, and I'm going to show you in this kind of reviews our dividing polynomials. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up my f of x. Okay, I'm going to first do this problem. Let me show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find f divided by g of x. I'm going to find that first, okay, and then I'm going to plug in negative 3 to whatever that is, and then I'm going to get my answer. Okay, so let me show you what that's all about. So let's go ahead and start with green. I'm going to do 2x squared plus x minus 10, okay, and I'm going to divide that by my g function, which I made purple, x minus 2. So I'm doing this problem here, and I have previous videos on this section if you need a walkthrough, but I'm going to kind of do it quickly because hopefully you've watched those videos and you're more comfortable with it now. All right, so how do I do this? Well, I'm looking at the leading coefficients of these problems, so I'm looking at x and 2x squared to start with the dividing. X goes into 2x squared 2x times. Now what I have to do is I have to multiply 2x times x minus 2 and write that result underneath. That is equal to 4, psych. That is equal to 2x squared minus 4x. So I'm going to write that here. 2x squared minus, I'm going to actually change it to like orange or something. Let me think here. Style. Yeah, mine's orange. Okay, so I have 2x squared minus 4x. I need to put that in parentheses and subtract it. Okay, now I get 0x squared, okay, or just 0. That cancels out. That's the whole point of finding out this factor. Sorry, 2x. And then I get x minus a negative 4x. This is the tough part, and I get positive 5x. The next thing I do is I drop down the next term, this negative 10 minus 10. Okay, and now I think, okay, hot shot, I don't care about this leading term now. Now I care about this leading term. How much does x go into that guy? And he goes in positive 5 times. Okay, what happens when we multiply 5 times x minus 2? Well, I get the result of 5x minus 10. So I'm going to write that here, 5x minus 10. And now I subtract like this. Boom. So now what do I get for my result? I get 5x minus 5x is 0. That cancels. Negative 10 minus a negative 10. That cancels. Okay? And I'm left with a remainder of 0, which is good because that means it goes in perfectly into this problem. Okay? It fits in perfectly. So what happened as I divided this? My result was 2x plus 5. Now what am I going to do? Well, I know that f of g of x, sorry, that's not f of g. That's f divided by g of x equals 2x plus 5. What did I want to plug in? I wanted to plug in negative 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in negative 3 to this. So I have, just as I wanted up here, right here, f of negative 3. And I'm going to show it in blue because we're going to see that we get the same thing. This blue. Okay, so f over g, okay, of negative 3. Okay, now I'm just going to replace anywhere I see an x with a negative 3. So I have 2 times negative 3 plus 5. That equals negative 6 plus 5. Lo and behold, I get the same thing. Now you're probably thinking, wow, that was way harder doing it the way you did. But it's a good way to review polynomials and dividing by them. So we got the same thing, 2 different ways to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you next time on Wes Explains Best.